show, but the one and only Whitney Abke.
Oh my gosh, they're just too much. They're just way too much. That was awesome. Thank you, Adi. He does those every week. He's awesome. As Moses said, my name is Whitney, and I'm really excited because this is my first time speaking at Lift. I'm super excited. I'm more so excited because I'm friends with like everybody here. I get to talk to you all at once. That's like so exciting. That never happens. It's so cool. I'm so excited. Tonight, the title of my message is Kings and Queens, and I kind of did like an undercover sneak attack on you. Because really, we're talking about the top 3 needs of every man and woman. And the vision behind it is really to talk about our core identity. Because if you know what your needs are, if you know how you were created, you know how to relate with people, you know what your needs are, you know how to interact. And I really feel like we have an amazing community, and I just really felt like there was a need for us to know in a deeper sense how we were created so that we can deeply connect and deeply relate and can recognize it and understand each other better, especially between men and women. Because that's something that's kind of, it's really intricate. It's not easy. Relationships are not easy. So I'm really excited for this, and this is gonna be good. So the purpose of Kings and Queens tonight, I just want us to understand who we are, how God made us, and His purpose for us in our relationships with each other. Tonight I'm going to be speaking from experience and just also wisdom from my failures, from my successes, and also from learning from other people in their successes and failures in their relationships with people. Whether that's family, friends, your relationships with people that you're dating, all of that. So let's talk about our top 3 needs. The top 3 needs of every man is honor, sex, and companionship. And that's in order. Honor is number 1, sex is number 2, and companionship is number 3. The top 3 needs of every woman is security, leadership, and communication. Isn't that cool how they relate? I really like seeing it like this because you can see how each one kind of interfaces with each other, and we'll get into that. Let's talk about men first, because men are awesome. We all know this. Come on. Hello. Yeah, we are. All right, good. That's what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear a little like grumble, like the man sound. All right. So the top need of every man is honor. The core questions that every man asks is, am I honored? And am I living a life worthy of receiving honor? In many of my conversations with you guys, which y'all are my favorite men ever, besides my family, but you guys are my favorite. When I've talked with you guys, that's been one of the questions that we've talked about. Like if there's been something that you're going through in your life where you feel like you're in a rut, that's kind of the thing that we end up talking about is, I don't know if I'm living a life worthy of receiving honor. I don't know if I'm honored, and I don't know if I'm living a life worthy of receiving honor. And that's one of like the biggest like core issues and kind of like detrimental in the decisions that you make going forward. And I kind of, in my conversations, I realized that men operate out of a place of honor and they relate out of honor. Isn't that interesting? So you relate to other men through honor. Like, does this guy honor me? And kind of like the biggest relationship that I can think of is your father. If you have a father, it's really big when he says, I'm proud of you. When you accomplish something and you have a huge like moment, you graduate, or you get married or something like that, those big life moments that happen, that is the biggest thing that you could ever hear from your dad is, I'm proud of you, son. And so men also will, if you don't have a father or you didn't have a good relationship with your father, men typically will look for men that are honored in the community or like in church or at work, and you'll look to those men to fulfill that need of being honored. Or you'll follow after them so that you know the way you should go in order to receive honor yourself. And that's not a bad thing, that's a great thing. That's how God designed you. But that's just how big of a deal it is. So honor is really important. So men are also established in a place where honor is given and received. Wherever there's tons of men, that's a good place. Because men will only go where they know that they'll be honored and where they can give honor. They can have that exchange. That exchange is really important. Mark 6, 1 through 6. This verse is crazy. Jesus, this is when he went into his hometown, and he was with his disciples, and he went in on the Sabbath day to his hometown, and he basically began to teach in the synagogue. And it was kind of crazy because it's like his hometown is where he should be like most honored, and this was the place where he had the least honor in his entire life. I just want to talk about the questions that he asked. So these people, when he was teaching in the synagogue, they were amazed at what he was saying. Isn't that crazy? They were amazed at what he was saying. And then they said, "Where did this man get these things? What's this wisdom that has been given to him? What are these remarkable miracles he is performing? Isn't this the carpenter? Isn't this Mary's son and the brother of James, Joseph, Judas, Simon? Aren't his sisters here with us?" And they took offense at him. Isn't that crazy? They're amazed, and then they took offense. And Jesus said to them, "A prophet is not without honor except in his own hometown, among his relatives, and in his own home." And this is crazy. He could not do any miracles there except lay his hands on a few sick people and heal them. He could not do any miracles except lay his hands on a few sick people and heal them. Why? Because they didn't honor him. Isn't that crazy? A lack of honor disables men. A lack of honor disables men. It's crazy. Just as Jesus, a man, was disabled because he was not honored, men are also disabled by a lack of honor. Men with great potential, purpose, and character are disabled by a lack of honor. So you can be a great man, but feel that lack and feel like you have no place, you have no right to speak into people's lives, all because you're not received. And that's really important. So honor is a big deal. So in order for a man to receive honor, how do you receive honor as a man? You lay your life down. It's that simple. You lay your life down. That's for God. You lay your life down for God. You lay your life down for people. You lay your life down for family. And that's through serving people. That's through loving people, being kind, being a man worthy of receiving honor is someone who just gives preference even, to other people. The most important thing I think with honor is when men interact with other men. I've never been in a men's locker room, but I've heard stories. And I've heard how you guys talk to each other. And sometimes it's really undercutting, It's really like, "Hey, dude, you suck," like, "You didn't do good today," or like, "You didn't get picked," or, sometimes it can be really like undercutting and just like, you don't really walk out of the locker room feeling like a man, I don't know what that feels like, but I've heard about it. So it's really important that in your interactions with other men, I'm speaking to men, in your interactions with other men, make sure that you speak well of each other, that you build each other up. That's really important, as well as women, even in jokes. Make sure that you build each other up and honor each other, speak well of each other. I love Proverbs 27:17. It says, "Iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend." And I love the Amplified version. Women, that's the women's Bible, it's the Amplified version. More words, more description, more detail. It's awesome. To show rage or worthy purpose. I love that. Iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend to show rage or worthy purpose. Ephesians 4:29, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs." And isn't that interesting, according to their needs? So tip for the ladies time. Men shut down when spoken to in a dishonoring way or tone. And most of the time it's not necessarily what we're saying, but it's how we're saying it. That it's not received well. We kind of learn that lesson with our fathers first, during the teenage years. And we have just so much that we need to express, and we don't express it in a honoring way, and then we get that, "Don't talk to me that way." So it's like, so we learn that way. But basically, don't assign motives. And I think that's the hardest thing not to do, especially when you're hurt or upset. For women who tend to just assign motives, but men that really gets them, because they're like, "I didn't mean to do that," or "That wasn't my intention." And it's really important that we don't assign motives. Instead, clearly communicate what we see and how we feel. And that's not always easy. I typically don't react emotionally. I will like sleep on it, and that's my like key word, and that's like the leave me alone phrase. You know, for a second, let me breathe. I say, I'm gonna sleep on that, just 1 second. You know, and I'll like go off and breathe for a second, and then I'll come back and I'll say, okay, this is what you said, or this is what you did. This is how it made me feel. I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't say or do that again. And it's really easy, it's straight to the point, you know? It doesn't always work out like that, but it's really helpful. I've noticed that like in my interactions with men and women, when I do that, it's actually way life-giving, and they're like, oh, I had no idea, or I was just joking, or I didn't know that like that was a sensitive area for you, and you're like, yeah, and then, hey, your relationship is still good, your friendship's still awesome. We either strengthen or weaken men and women with our words and actions. So the men in our life, I love Eat, Pray, Love. My favorite line of the whole movie was, she said, everybody keeps telling me I need a man. And this guy, her significant other, is like, Liz, you don't need a man, you need a champion. And I love the whole phrase, champion, you know? Oh. So, I love it. So, it's true though, the men in our lives, women, are our champions. Their natural instinct is to protect us. You know, your father's natural instinct, your brother's natural instinct, your cousin's even, all of that, their natural instinct is to protect, to take care of you. And so when there's like a disagreement, you know, a quarrel, it's really important just to keep that in mind. Like, this is a guy that's for me, you know? If you really know that, like, if you have a good relationship with the guy, this is a man that's for me. He's fighting for me, he's with me, he's my friend, he cares about me. So I'm gonna come at it with that, with believing the best about him, knowing like, he didn't probably mean that, or he had like a weird, stupid moment, but I'm just gonna like, let him know what it is that hurt me, or confused me, or, you know, made me upset. So, I love this. Nothing justifies an unloving husband, and nothing justifies a dishonoring wife. That's pretty good. I don't know where I got that from, so I can't give you the reference, but nothing justifies an unloving husband, and nothing justifies a dishonoring wife. And that's really key to your relationships in the future. Just make sure men love, women honor. That's good. All right, next need is sex. Sex is good, but only within marriage. God's purpose with sex is to discover and unify. The world's purpose is to dominate and conquer. And if anyone's feeling awkward, you can just give me the awkward mustache. That's a good signal as we go through this next need. You know, just pop it up, you know? Nobody will know. They'll think you're like scratching your nose, but just pop that up and I'll know to quit it. So, if you live in God's purpose, you will be satisfied in sex. It's true. If you live outside of God's purpose, you will always crave to fill what sin makes hollow. And that's really like the big deal, you know, like I've seen in so many of my friendships with men and women, when they've had sex outside of marriage, it's like this thing that just they crave more, but they're never satisfied. They're never fulfilled. It's never enough. And it's like the worst thing ever to watch that, because it's like, I don't know. I think of it like when you get your wisdom teeth removed and you get dry socket, you know? It's like the worst thing ever, and it hurts. So it's, you know, it's like you just, I know, random, I'm quirky tonight. Just get over it. So, you know, it's just like, it's this thing that you participate in, this thing that God just gave as such a gift between men and women, and not living in that purpose, not using it in that purpose that God designed it for, literally it hurts you. It causes pain. The problem with this is that this need is not being met if you're a single guy who's a Christian, who is running from participating in sex. You're fleeing. You know, it's like, how do I not feel, like, how do I get fulfilled in this if God created it as a need? Is he cruel? You know? I think some guys, I've had some guy friends say that, like, is God cruel? This is awful. It's not just a desire, it's a need. You know, I think women, you need to understand that. It's not just a desire that they have. They're just not running around being all lusty, you know? It's a natural need. So, yeah. So how are men supposed to fulfill this need? If the world the world is telling us how to fulfill it. How do we fulfill it? And really the answer to that is you can't. Not until you get married. Any way we meet this need in an impure way leads to death. And I really think that, men, your battle is not with sex, but it's with being passive. It's with being passive, not aggressive. And don't worry, just because it's accessible doesn't mean it's permissible. So I think the biggest excuse I hear is, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Porn is everywhere. Victoria's Secret models everywhere. I can't not look. And that's a lie. And I'm not attacking you. I'm saying that's the lie of the world. That it's so accessible, I can't abstain. It's so accessible, I can't not struggle. And God knows the struggle. He gets it. And I think that lie is what keeps you walking along the line, like you're not crossing over into the deep, but you're like walking along the line. You're like, well, it's accessible. Well, late night Netflix runs, that's okay. That's all right if I watch, stuff that's like online. It's not exactly porn, but it's on the line. And that's the lie. That's the lie of the enemy. That's the snare. That's the little net, that he's got hanging out for you, seeing if you'll fly into it. So, in a fight, men, I want your answer on this, okay? I need to know. In a fight, do you swing lighter or harder than your opponent? Harder. Yes. I think the general consensus is harder. You swing harder. Why? Because you want to knock them out, right? You don't want to get hit. No one likes getting hit. Men don't like getting hit, right? Right? No, you don't like getting hit. So you hit harder than your opponent because you want to win. And I think with this fight, God has equipped you to win. So don't feel like you're not equipped. You are equipped. He's given you your spirit. He's given you Holy Spirit to guide you, to tell you, look to the left. Look to the right. Close your eyes. But Holy Spirit, honestly, in all honesty, all jokes aside, I know I'm weird, but in all honesty, God has equipped you to overcome. He's equipped you to abstain, and you can do it. I know you can. James 1:14-15 says, temptation comes from our own desires, which entice us and drag us away. These desires give birth to sinful actions, and when sin is allowed to grow, it gives birth to death. So let's talk about the four-letter word that is daunting, porn. Biggest issue with porn is that it alters God's original design of man. It's not even that it's bad. I think, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. But this is the problem that I see, and that breaks my heart as a woman, as a sister, as a daughter, as a friend, is that I see porn alter a man's design. How he was originally created to be. It literally changes you as a man. Totally wrecks you. And you change, and you're not able to operate. You're not able to relate with women in the right way. Everything is discombobulated and totally screwed up. And that's really sad. If porn perverts have dominion, which is what God originally said to Adam, I created you to have dominion, into domination. Porn is all about self-gratification, not intimacy. So God created you to be fulfilled in sex through intimacy. But yet it totally perverts that and changes it into what you can get, And yeah, so domination is control, self-gratification, and exploitation. To have dominion is to take care of, steward, and protect. How opposite is that? Isn't that opposite? God created you to have dominion, not to dominate. He created you to take care of, steward, and protect everything that he gives you. That's good. I love this quote. I'm sorry, I don't have the reference, but I love it. Whatever you behold, you will become. I love that quote. Whatever you behold, you will become. So porn may be something you do in private, but its consequences are very public. So the tip for guys is, this is like a random tip, but I thought it would lighten the mood. Women need physical affection that doesn't lead to sex. Kind of hard. So how do you navigate that as a guy? When you're like, well, kind of want this right now, but homegirl, sister, or friend just needs physical affection. That doesn't lead to this. It's pure. It's just loving on her. Whether it's a hug or that's a pat on the back, women need it. That's one of the things that we need, especially from the men in our lives that we hold like really dear, and that's really important to us. it's like a big deal. So how do men navigate this? And I think you navigate it with clear boundaries and limitations. And that's really like the way to do that with physical affection with women. So men, you need to lead and define this with all women in your life. And that will really help you navigate when it comes to physical affection. Because you'll see her like big eyes and she's like, oh, I just want a hug. You know? And you're like, ugh. So the thing is just define it with her. This is what's okay with me. What's cool with you? And I think for some girls are totally freaked out by physical affection. They don't want it, you know? So it's really hard to like figure that out. Who is totally all about the hug, you know? The classic side hug, and who like freaks out if you like touch her shoulder, you know, and she's like, you never see her again, you know? How do you navigate that? And it's just by communicating, you know, by asking your friend, like, hey, like, what are you comfortable with? Or for me, it's what are your love languages? And I always joke, because I'm a quality time and physical touch person, and I always joke because they're really one and the same. So I'll say it's quality touch and physical time, you know? So like, mix them up. But that's, yeah. I like it. Companionship is the top 3 need for every man. Genesis 2:18 says, it's not good for a man to be alone. I will give him a companion, a playmate. I think this is really cool. God removed part of Adam to create Eve. He didn't create Eve from a petal, you know, a little flower, a daisy. Nope. He created her from Adam. He took Adam's rib out and then created woman. And I think this is like way cool because men typically say, without a companion, I feel empty. You know, I feel incomplete. I don't have anyone to walk with. And that's like a huge thing. Like, I want a companion. I think one friend that I was talking to, he's moving out on his own. And I was like, dude, he was hooking up with a friend, and it was like really difficult for him to find a place. And I just like, you're like old and make tons of money, move out on your own. You know, I like didn't get it, my independent self. And he's like, heck no. I'm not moving out on my own. Like, I have to move in with somebody, you know, until I get married. I'm not gonna move out on my own. And I like didn't get it, and then it clicked. I was like, oh, duh, companionship. It's like your top 3rd need, you know, like, of course you don't want to be alone, duh. So it's a really big deal. I love the fact that it says companion, and it actually translates as playmate. Guys really like having fun. They're good at it. Men are good at having fun. You guys come up with the craziest games that are just awesome, and it's like things I would never think of doing, you know? And you guys are awesome at having fun, and it's really important for you to, like, what's the number 1 thing that you say? I want to find a woman who likes having fun. You don't want a downer, you know? You want someone that, like, let's do it, you know? She's like, oh, go where you go, you know? Do what you do. You want that, you know? That's a big deal. So really, like, a tip with fun is keep on doing it. Find someone that you have fun with. You know, when you're finding a companion for life, make sure she likes having fun, and figure out her type of fun too, you know, and make it work. It's fun. It's fun having fun. So, in conclusion with men, because I need to wrap it up. In conclusion, what does a man whose needs are met look like? Micah 6:8 says, he has told you, oh man, what is good? And what does the Lord require of you but to do justice and love kindness and to walk humbly with your God? I love that. Psalms 37:23. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way. Luke 6:45. A good man brings good things without the good stored up. With the good stored up in his heart. And an evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart. For the mouth speaks of what the heart is full of. That's good. Proverbs 31:8-9. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. For the rights of all who are destitute, speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy. I love men that step into what they're not only called to do, but who they are. And you end up doing what you're called to do because you are who you are. You know? And I love that. I love seeing that. That's like one of the biggest pleasures of being a girl, is seeing men be men. So let's move on to the women, because I want to get to you ladies, my favorite chicks. I love it. Unlike men's needs, women's needs actually flow together, and this is really true for everything about women. Women flow together in every way, shape, or form. Emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, we're all just like spaghetti. Like it all touches, it all relates with everything else. You know, men are boxes. Women are like, you know, you say something and it goes back to like when they were 4, you know? It's like, it all relates. It's crazy. So basically in these needs are all, they all flow together. And it's really crazy and they all relate. And with the top need, which is security, if we lack in any areas of these needs in any way, shape, or form, we become insecure. So, you know, don't hate when the girl's insecure. She has a lot going on, you know? There's a lot of things she's trying to figure out, you know? Give her a break, you know? It's good. So security. One of the couple top questions that we always say is, am I safe? And am I safe can be, within security, it can be physical, it can be emotional. And most of the time, especially in relationships, it's not so much the physical security as it is the emotional security. Am I safe here with you? Am I safe? Are you a safe place? Have you made yourself a safe place for me? And am I loved? Do I belong? Am I beautiful? So those are our security questions that we ask all the time. All the time we ask, do I belong? Do I belong here at Lift? Do I belong here with these people? You know, am I loved? Am I beautiful? Those are core questions. There's 2 types of security. Physical security, which is environment and appearance and personal. And a woman will put herself in an unsafe environment because of her need to belong. And that's one of the things when I was a youth director for 3 years, and that was the top thing that that was the hardest thing I dealt with youth, with little teenage girls, was they would put themselves, they would go to a party, but they knew there was going to be drinking and drugs and like no control over their environment. And they would go into these environments just so that they could belong. So they could find a community, and it's like, dude, why did you go there? Like you knew it was going to go on, and yet you still went, and look, you got hurt, you know? Or look, you got like a DUI, or you got like, you know, in trouble, or something happened to you. And it's just crazy, but they don't hear it because their need to belong is so loud. It's screaming at them. It's like the biggest lack that they feel. So it's a big deal for women. Women were created to be beheld and to be lovely. And that is one of the things with physical security, appearance, and personal security is feeling beautiful, feeling lovely. Like when you see me, am I lovely? Am I beautiful? Do you think I am? And that's a huge question that we ask to our Father. That's a huge question we ask to our brothers, to our friends, our guy friends. Even though it's platonic, it's still a question that we ask, you know, because it's something that we need. If this need is not being met by family or friends, a woman will become insecure with her worth and her value. So how do men and women partner and support women in a healthy way with this? Like, no matter what your relationship status is, if it's friend, or if it's brother, or if it's, you know, uncle for some of us. We're old enough to be uncles and aunts. How do you meet this need? How do you partner with the women in your life? Men, the thing is to be vocal. Speak life, speak to the good you see in her. That says a lot. Even something like, hey, that scarf is awesome. Thank you. You know, so that's a big deal. You know, that means a lot. Like, oh, you noticed my hair. You know, everyone asks me if I dye my hair like lighter, but I'm like, I just washed it. You know, I'm like, thank you for noticing. You know, so that's like, you know, it's a big deal. And I like the fact that they noticed. It's like, thank you, I did. I washed my hair. You're so awesome. So women, the thing that we can partner with other women is don't compare. Don't be envious. And this isn't just something that you say, it's also how you feel. Because women, let's be honest, you know, let's be honest, we feel each other. We feel, and I know this because I live in the firehouse with 9 women, we feel each other. And if we have something, it's like you walk past me and you're like, yep. I know how you feel about me today, you know? And it's not always bad, but we just feel it. You can feel when someone's comparing themselves to you. You know, you can feel it. And so really for women, it's not just being vocal as well, but it's also in your heart. You know, don't compare, don't be envious. You are awesome and beautiful, you don't need to compare. You're beautiful in your own way. There's no reason for you to compare, be envious, or jealous of what another woman has, you know? A lot of that is for all the single ladies. You know, it's she's in a relationship. Dang, you know? Like, I was looking at him too, you know, and you know? It's like, it's really hard, and we want because we don't have. And so, like, that's really, it's a big deal. So, emotional security. Inner feelings and atmosphere, as I said earlier, we can feel atmospheres, then it's true. What's awesome is that Jesus promises, I'll never leave you or forsake you. I am constant, I am faithful, I am here. And so for women, like, we can get this emotional security, we can get it from Jesus, we can get it from God, we can feel fulfilled in that way. And then the men in your life that do fulfill that, do affirm what you already fulfilled in, it's awesome. Then you don't feel like you need it from every guy in your life because you're fulfilled in God, but then they affirm it and you're like, ooh, that feels good, you know? So Genesis 2:23, I got this from a friend who shall remain nameless. She was talking about it earlier this week and I thought I'd plug it in. I love it because Genesis 2:23, Adam, when he first saw Eve, he said, at last. At last. Yeah. He said, at last. That's all he needed to say. You know, at last, because he had found the one that he was looking for. He was looking at the buffalo, at the zebras. You know, he was looking for a companion, you know, the bush, the shrubbery. And God was like, oh, this is not good. He needs somebody like him. He's not finding a companion in the shrub. You know, he needs like a woman. So he finally was like, at last I found her, the one that belongs to me. You know, I was empty and now I have a companion. So it's really important. Tip for men, do not promise this level of security until you're ready to put a ring on it. For reals. For reals. I know it's really hard, we're really cute, and then we like, you know, look at you with those big eyes, and we're like, say it, don't say it, please. Only because this level of security is like exactly like what we need, in all honesty. It's a big deal for us. So do not promise this level of emotional security of I will always be there. Don't say that. Say, I'm here. I'm here now, you know. We're in a relationship now, we're figuring each other out, we're seeing if we work. This is okay, it's normal, it's natural, it's good, it's healthy, and it's balanced. But don't say that until you're ready to put a ring on it. Because it will then get you in trouble and it's a slippery slope. And I know you want to. Men want to do that. They want to protect, they want to be there. That's your natural thing. But just abstain from that. It's wisdom. Speak more of what you're confident in than what you are unsure of. And so like when you're in that transition in dating and you're like figuring each other out, just speak of what you're confident in. I know I really like you. I think you're awesome. And I really am enjoying getting to know you. That's enough. You're good, you know? Until that grows and you're like, yes, mine, you know? Pee on that tree. Not for animals, you know? So that's big. I lost everybody just then. Women need dependable, hardworking, and a faithful man, a good steward. That's what we need. We just need to be dependable, hardworking, and faithful. We need a good steward, and we look for these qualities in men. It's what we look for. We just look for that, and only time can tell. I'm going to skip to this second need, leadership. And this question of where are you leading me? That goes kind of into in the previous, you know, of giving that emotional security. Where are you leading me, or where are you leading us? And we ask this of God all the time, men and women, but especially women, because this is our top need. You know, top two need of how we're designed and how we're created was to be led. And so leadership, though, is not control. And no one, man or woman, wants to be controlled. And I think that's key. Leadership is initiation. So it's not control, it's initiation. And God initiates with us. And so men, it's really cool because you have, like, obviously a direct line to the Lord. You know how he leads you, and you can lead your spouse that way. The way that God leads you, you can lead her. You can lead your family. Leadership is initiation with guidance. So, you know, like, it's not like, hey, keep up, you know? That's not leadership. Like, you're going for it, and you're like, keep up, you know? No, like, take us with you. We want to go with you, you know? It's a big deal. So men lead the way that God leads you. And 3 ways every woman needs to be led in a relationship or marriage. These are 3 really cool ways, and this just is kind of future reference, unless you're already married. Spiritual matters. So we want to be led in spiritual matters. So like initiating prayer is a big deal, you know? That makes us all hot and bothered. Children. Be involved in their activities, friendships, and discipline. And romance. Meeting a need before it's spoken. That's romance. Woo! That is what, woo, gets us going. We didn't even have to say nothing. We just looked down the store and we were like, oh, that's a nice chair. That's really nice. That's cool. I really like that. That's cool. And we keep going, and then that shows up the next day with a little bow. Ooh, yeah. Won me over, baby. That's how it's done. So that's romance. And a practical tip is, in order to be romantic, you need to have a budget. Men, a budget, romantic budget. You can write it, you know? Romantic budget. You can literally write it. And really, financial decisions are not emotional decisions. They're math decisions. So when you know that you're going into a relationship, like save, and maybe start saving now, because you know, you're in it for the long haul, you really need a budget, because you're gonna make it happen, you know? And it's hard, it's really hard to not be like, oh shoot, I can't do that. You know, I can't pay for tonight. I've gone on Groupon dates and I love it. I'm like, yes, winner, Groupon date. It's awesome. Grapes, wine, it's good. It's all good. So Groupon dates are okay. Proverbs 4:23, guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Ladies, know your heart, know what process it's in, and where God is leading you. Top 3 need, I'll wrap it up. Communication, big deal. Women want the details, not the headlines. This is how women connect, is through communication. And really, when we talk about companionship, you know, companionship, communication, top 3 needs, they go together. Women see communication as companionship. That's why we talk in the bathroom. For real. That's why we congregate there. We have our moments, you know. Nobody knows what happens there. It's like the men's locker room, you know. It's where we do it. So it's good. Men learn through women how to emotionally connect themselves. And that's like one cool way through marriage that I've witnessed, is men become more emotionally connected because of how women want to communicate, and they share their feelings and all of that, and it's good. So what does a woman whose needs are met look like? Proverbs 31, of course, women, all the ladies just went, yeah, she used Proverbs 31. 25, she is clothed in strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future. Love that. Love that. You're clothed in strength. You're clothed in dignity. And you laugh without fear of the future. God's got you. Don't worry about it. So in conclusion, fulfilling my needs the healthy way. How do I do that? How do I not be a needy person? You know, we're talking about needs, but how do I not be needy? We must have a healthy boundary within friendships and relationships. So with the opposite sex, that's really the big deal with meeting your needs. You just need to have healthy boundaries in that, and that will bring life to you. It is important for you to know what turns you on and what makes you feel those feelings with your relationships with your opposite sex. Yes, I just said turn you on. Yes, thank you. I got that. But it's true, you need to know, okay, this is, I differentiate. I'm old enough now, in my early 20s, I probably wouldn't be able to do this, but I'm now 27, I understand what the difference is between I have feelings for you and you just accessed a part of my heart. You know, you just entered in that place. That's okay, that's healthy, that's normal. So how do I navigate that, and how do I process that? That, you know, that involves God and a little bit more than what I'll go into. But you just need to be honest with yourself, and then honest with the person that you're friends with and you're in a relationship with. And say, hey, like, these are my no-nos, you know? My no-nos are, don't dance with me. You know, that makes me connect with you in a way that I'm not ready for yet. You know, it could be something like no cuddling. You know, I think that's like typical of inappropriate behavior between friendships, you know, no snuggling. We're not snuggle buddies, you know, but it's true, some people can. Some people, honestly, every man and every woman is different, but still you have to have those boundaries and you have to talk and communicate. It's really important. So boundaries are different for everyone, but here's some basics too. Don't share too much intimacy. I always say don't share the sludge. Only certain people who have earned trust and or are your spouse should know the little They should only know the little bottom depths, those who are trusted and can handle it, who are your spouse. Also, this is really big, is nighttime. It's the most vulnerable and difficult time for both men and women. You know, it's really the time of intimacy. So when you're friends with a guy, don't stay up till 1 and talk with him. You know, even if you're in a relationship with him, don't do it. You'll share more than you should. You know, you won't keep that boundary and it won't go slow and steady like it should.
Yeah.
And so it's just wisdom. Just cut it off. I had a couple guy friends. When I was in college, I was like super naive and ignorant because I was a PK. And so I had no idea like how to navigate like friendships with guys from the opposite sex. You know, I had no idea. And guys from the opposite sex. I know I just, whatever. Let's hope they're guys that are the opposite sex. Whatever. So basically, I loved it because I learned a lesson through them because they said, oh, hey, it's 10:30, I'll see you tomorrow. I was like, you know, like, we didn't finish the conversation yet, and you just cut it off. You know, I felt like all hurt, you know, not love. And then I realized it's super wisdom, and I really appreciated it, because then I felt protected and guarded, and I realized, oh, dude, he's not just thinking of himself, he's thinking of me too. And it's not that he wanted to cut it off, but he should have, and he did. And I love that. That's leading. So nighttime is the most vulnerable, so guard yourself and your friends by setting a cutoff time. And DTRing. DTRing is kind of an interesting concept. It can be easy, awkward, and hard, all at the same time. And really the key to DTRing is just being honest and clear. And I love it because DTRing, we think of that as only defining the future. DTRing is defining the relationship. So that can be through friendship, platonic friendship, that can be in a relationship. But we always think of DTRing as the future. It's not always the future. You can actually DTR the present. What are we to each other today? Because I think a lot of men, a lot of women, out of fear of what might happen, we DTR the future and we're like, you're never, you know, friend for life, you know, BFFs, that's what we are. And sometimes that's good, but most of the time I think we do that out of fear or just like apprehension, anxiety. We want to control it instead of just letting it be what it is. And I think DTRing isn't just for the future, it's also for the present, and it's really good. Because I love DTRing because I get to affirm. I get to love on. I get to speak life over the men in my life. And so I get to say, you know, oh, I have so much love for you. I so appreciate you. You're awesome. Like, you take care of me. You watch out for me. You got my back. I love it. Thank you. Like, thank you for doing that. Because I've had a lack of that in my life, and now I have it in abundance, being in Lift. It's awesome. It's the best. I've never felt like this before. I am so fulfilled in the friendships that I have with the men and women here in this community. It's awesome. Lift is awesome. And so basically clearly communicating and agreeing who we are to each other, goals of the friendship or relationship, know the purpose that you have in their life. And so that's also what I end up speaking is, dude, I love you as a sister. I love you as a friend. And this is what we are now, you know, and like, I don't have to determine that. I don't need to lead, but I will affirm what we are to each other now. And that's always super life-giving. When I've done that, I've always been successful. It's always been a great time of exchanging that with each other, and it's really awesome. And also sharing your no-nos. You know, love languages are one of those. You know, what are your love languages? Okay, no touching. Okay, good. You know, I won't pat, you know, I won't keep my distance. I'll just words of affirmation you all the time, you know, so it's good. So anyway, I will wrap it up. I really think in our relationships with each other, I hope that you felt like this kind of gave you little nuggets to help you throughout the course of your life. These things are awesome. If you want my notes or if you want to talk more about it, I'm totally down. So totally come grab me and talk with me. But I'm just going to pray. I really feel like Holy Spirit kind of wants to, what we said, you make me brave. He really wants us to not have any fear, you know, with our relationships and our friendships, fear in the future. He really just wants us to enjoy each other and deeply connect, you know, like Dr. Cleveland said. He wants us to have those deep connections, whether in friendships or relationships. It's really important to God, and that's why He created us, man and woman. You know, whether we're friends or we're in a relationship, or it's to your mom or your dad or your siblings or anyone, family or friends, He wants us to have those deep connections and understand how each other works. So let me pray. God, I just thank you for this evening. I thank you for the message tonight that you've created us in such unique ways, and we complement each other. And how we relate to one another, God. I just thank you that you have so much for us, so much destiny for us, so much love for us, God, not just from yourself, but within each other. And I just thank you, Lord, that our destiny is our authority for our present circumstance when it comes to all things. And God, I know that there are so many awesome relationships within this Live community and also about to happen, God. I thank you for everyone that is single or dating, God, that you would bless them in their relationships and their friendships, God, that they would go well, that it would be awesome and fun and exciting, and it would be just totally life-giving and fulfilling, God. And I just thank you, Lord, for every heart that you would guard and protect, that you would help us to guard and protect each other and ourselves in our relationships and friendships, God, and that we would use wisdom. We would use wisdom and be guided by your Spirit. That we would always speak life, that we build each other up, that we love on each other and guard and protect one another, and just have an amazing love that transforms lives in this community in a deeper way. And so I just thank you, Lord, as the holidays come to, it's usually so hard for anyone that's single. It's a really rough time. And I just ask, Lord, that if there's anyone in here that is super apprehensive or just is like, man, this sucks, I hate Christmas, that they would honestly feel excited and fulfilled for what you have for them, that their destiny would be their authority for their present circumstances, that they could call in those things that they desire and dream of, God. I just thank you for your love for us. You're awesome, and I thank you, Lord, for blessing everyone here with awesome friendships and relationships that last, that are fulfilling and wonderful. Thank you, Lord. Amen. That was amazing.
Yes, that was great. Thank you so much.
Yes.
If you guys don't know who Whitney is, go give her a hug and you'll fall in love with her immediately. Not immediately, but give her some time.